Yeah. Sorry, my daughter is running back and forth saying hi,
Oh,
which she's very respectful, very polite, very friendly.
I should have said hi to Chloe too, of course.
But yeah, I'm doing good, doing good. Just oh, my brain is so fried.
What's been going on then? Why is your brain fried?
I mean, like it's so boring because like I feel like every time I'm just like I work, er,
I
you know.
mean, it's true though, and I think that's kind of most people can relate to that, unless you're younger. Like, it's almost like the more it happens, the more annoying it becomes because it's like, oh, this shit again. Like I'm burnt
Yeah,
out
exactly.
again. Like being
And like
burnt out is like annoying, but then being burnt out and then being like, wait, when wasn't I burnt out? Is even more
yeah,
frustrating.
as an adult going back and being like, wow, the last time I wasn't tired was back in the year.
Yeah, I mean, it must be even worse for someone. Not saying that obviously having kids is bad, but like it must be a negative side of having kids is that the downtime that most of us experience is then also another job. So it's like you have two jobs.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
and it doesn't help that me and my wife are on separate schedules.
yeah, yeah, totally.
So like I get off work, she has to sleep, and so I pick back up where she left off, basically.
Mm. It's like you're playing tennis.
Yes.
um, I've had an interesting. I'm kind of like I'm aching, but I wouldn't say I'm burnt out right now. I came back from work. Work was a bit of a yuck, but it was fine. But yesterday, me and the other members of Commit to the Bit, the comedy sketch channel, we all got together and we shot a sketch again. And we haven't shot a sketch for a good long while, but we finally got some time to shoot another sketch, and I went into it like I do with most sketches, being like, let's bring our A game, let's be as funny as possible. This one I was acting in, so I was like, try and learn the lines, which I don't usually do very well, but I tried my best. Um, you know, and try to be as funny as possible. But what I forgot about this sketch, because we wrote it quite some time ago, um, is that there was a lot of physical things to do in it, and because it's framed in my head as acting, as comedic acting, I didn't really see it as like physical, you know,
Yeah.
exertion. I just saw it as acting. But today, I don't want to spoil what happens in the sketch. There's not a lot of exercise per se. It's more just like physicality. But today, I
Yeah.
ache in the same way that you ache when you like exercise. And it's weird because I'm like, I want to feel good about myself, being like, usually when you have that kind of pain, you go, oh, I feel good because it means that I worked out. But then I realize it's not like muscle pain, it's like bruises. And like the back of my
Yeah.
head hurts, and like I've got my knees hurt. This will all make sense when the sketch eventually comes out. But like, I like
I just imagine you got mugged. You were just attacked.
but I like physically hurt. And it's interesting because it's like I am proud of what I did. And it is something that I'm glad I did, but not in the same way. So it's like this weird dichotomy in my head where every time I move my neck a certain way, I'm like, ow, that hurt. But I'm like, that's good because it means I worked hard. But I'm like, should my neck hurt? I was only doing
Yeah.
comedy.
It's when you're just like, oh man, I really did light. And then you're just like, wait a minute, I did like normal basic human activities the other day.
So
Why am
yeah,
I so sore?
it's been interesting. But yes, of course, there are times when me and you are not busy, and in those times we like to indulge in movies, TV shows, comic books, video games, and that is what we refer to as our current faves, which would be a great place to place a theme song for current faves that we don't actually have.
I
So
just want to say that's a better segue than usual. Usually it's just like we get to a point where it's like, we should probably move on.
yeah, I'm trying to make everything more professional. I'm
Oh,
just
streamline it.
yeah, I'm trying to get to a point where, like, when you do eventually, when we do eventually get a way to record you in like a professional manner with a microphone, everything will just click into place.
Oh yeah, I've already got the Patreon tiers set up.
Oh my goodness! Can you imagine the audacity for us to put a Patreon up for literally? Yeah, maybe sometimes we'll put out podcasts.
Yeah.
Oh my
For
god.
hey, one of the rewards is you'll get the notes that we send each other, which are literally just one sentence lines.
And sometimes John will try to entertain himself by purposely messing up the name of the podcast. This week it was Friends of Fi. It was
I
particularly
thought it
funny.
was very, I thought it was very clever.
Oh, jeez. So, what is it that you have been enjoying this week, John?
So me and my wife have started watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which
Ooh.
I watched the original anime series and read the manga. I haven't actually watched Brotherhood.
I my experience with Brotherhood is, I mean, the manga Full Metal Alchemist, the manga, is my favorite manga of all time. Um, and I've never finished it for that reason because I don't want to. It's almost like I don't want it to end. I have all the volumes,
Yeah.
but I just don't want it to end because I love it so much. And I'll reread up to the point that I'm at right now. It's basically when they meet. Is it Mustang, the big strong guy? That's Mustang, right? No,
Armstrong. Armstrong is the big
Armstrong.
tough.
I always mix those
And
two
you
up.
met his sister,
Yes. So I
I'm
meet
assuming?
his sister, and I
Yes.
was like, okay, I gotta stop now, and I gotta reread. So this is literally where I am with that manga. I love it so much. It's like it's compelling. It inspires me so much. I tried to watch Brotherhood because I was told that it's based on the manga as opposed to the '04 anime, which is kind of like a separate. It's like inspired by, but it's very different. Um,
Yeah.
I couldn't. The voice acting killed it for me, and it's not bad voice acting in Japanese. It's just because when you read a manga and you have no point of reference for what the characters sound like, you create voices for them in your head.
Yeah.
And hearing voices that were completely different to those voices in your head, like I couldn't watch it. So one thing in my head is when I read Full Metal, Alphonse is always sounds like a big scary monster, and the reason for that is because people react to him like he's scary because he looks physically intimidating, and
Yeah.
as such, there's always this running joke that they think that he's the older brother, they think that he's the skilled warrior because he looks intimidating, and the tragedy of his character is that he's treated like an adult when he should be being treated like a kid. But for me, that doesn't work when you transfer it to the anime because they give him a child's voice, which is fine. It's just a creative decision. But that voice that I built up in my head for Alphonse, the voice he's almost cursed to have, is just a little kid's voice. And it's like it
Yeah.
completely
What's
scares
interesting,
me
what's
out.
interesting for me is I started watching the original whatever 04 03 anime around the same time that I was reading the manga.
I see.
I was also watching like the English dub because I'd catch it on Adult Swim
Yeah, 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 yeah.
whenever it would come on. And it's so weird watching Brotherhood because they use the same voice actors.
Do they really?
Oh yeah, it's like,
Oh,
and I
wow.
mean, I could be 100% wrong, but I'm like, no, that is 100% the exact same voices.
I mean, that's not.
From the English at least. We're listening to the dub.
Yeah, I mean, now that I think about it, with anime, that's not that surprising. Because with a lot
Yeah,
of animated things, actually, not just anime, but like animation in general, they sometimes do. Like Tara Strong has reprised a lot of roles in a lot of different
yeah,
reboots. Like she's played Harley in a lot of different things. She's played Raven in a lot of different things, and they don't always change the voice actors because it's like, well, the characters are known for those voices, you know. Um,
yeah. So yeah, and it's interesting because I forget how different the pacing is in Brotherhood because the pacing is quick.
Yeah, from what I remember, again, I didn't watch much of it, but from what I remember, except for the beginning, I think the first like episode or two, it's pretty much paced very similar to the manga, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like it's quite close because I
because
remember.
like literally the entire like first story of like them going to that desert town that has like the prophet guy,
Yes, yeah,
that's one episode.
yeah,
And I don't even think it's a full episode.
yeah. Yeah, and
And
to
so
me,
it's super weird to get used to that.
mm,
But it is nice kind of reliving these moments. Some of them though are not nice moments to relive,
oh my goodness, I can imagine. I mean, I'm looking at.
especially the beginning.
What are you talking about? The brothers? What happens to them at the beginning? Oh, we can
Well,
spoil
I
it.
mean that we kind of already going into it already know about, you know.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
things that my wife didn't know about, like Shao Tucker,
Okay. Yeah. There's oh
which is
jeez.
which is a rough one.
There's so um I guess we have a mutual friend. I wouldn't say my friend anymore because you know most of my friends now. We have a mutual friend, Tang. You know Tang,
Ah,
and
yeah.
she will constantly just just if she's feeling sad and she wants me to feel sad, she'll just send me the photo of
Oh,
of the mum dog, the what was it called,
it's the
Chimera.
the Chimera, and it's the daughter and the dog,
Oh jeez. Well, first it's a
which
mum
is
and the
even
dog,
worse.
and then it's the
No,
daughter.
well, the original Chimera, yeah, I think was just the mom. I
Yeah.
don't believe they had a beloved family pet. And then he had to use the daughter and the dog.
Oh jeez.
Just horrifying.
And I'm just like, why would you send that to me? And then she'd just be like, goodbye.
Yeah.
My day is
And then the
ruined.
worst thing about that situation is I forget that Scar kills the dog or the Chimera.
Yes, because
I
it's
always
so.
forget about that part because I remember that they get fused together, but I forget that Scar, in his own mind, mercifully, but he murders them.
It's one of those things, and Scar is very much like this. Again, I'm speaking in terms of the manga, but again, they're very similar series.
I mean,
It's
that
one of.
scene is like panel for panel.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
It's one of those things though with Scar's character where you have the good guys, Edward and Alphonse. You have the bad guys in the form of the
homunculus. Yeah,
yeah, the homunculi. But then Scar is one of those guys where you go, this is a bad guy, but then you keep going, is he though? Because like, is he just different? You know, does he just
yeah,
have a
he's
different?
justified.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I wouldn't with those. I never like saying justified because that's coming down, you know, either one side either way. But he's definitely up into your interpretations. I could see someone being like, "No, that was mercy," you know. And even though I wouldn't agree with them, I would kind of be like, "No, I understand where you're coming from there." And like that scene is so good because it's so satisfying to have him kill the dad.
Yeah.
Because you want the dad to die, or maybe you don't want the dad to die, but you want him to you know be
Okay, if you
punished.
don't want the dad to die, you are a horrible human being.
Well, I don't know. It's you know, but like you definitely dislike the dad. Most
Yeah.
humans would. So that it's so satisfying, and then it's immediately followed with that, and you're like, oh, like I was on board with this evil, like vengeful guy, but now I'm questioning everything again because he
Yeah.
killed the dog.
But it's just so good. We got to the Hughes death.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I just got him off my shelf now. I'm looking at him. I have a little Hughes to remind me that sadness exists in the world.
Yeah, I know, right? Which is weird because I'm just like I'm pretty sure this happens like within the first 10 episodes, which is so weird
Mm.
because it feels super early on in the story. But I forget that it was kind of early on, but in
It
volumes, that was probably like more like volume 4 or 5.
Yeah, and I mean, like we've both read the manga, so I get what you're saying. With Full Metal, it feels almost like, and I've never read Game of Thrones, but it feels a little bit Game of Thronesy, where like it's so packed with stuff that you
Yeah,
almost always, after just even Volume One, like you talked about when the priest, like, is the first kind of arc in the show and in the manga. Um, After that, you know the brothers so well, even though you've only been with them for like a tiny amount of time, that anything that happens, like Hugh's death, like you said, it happens relatively early, but you know
yeah,
him really well already, so it feels really bad, even though you've literally just met him. Especially if you're watching it, you probably only spent a couple like hours with him, even then,
yeah.
because he's not even a main character. But because the show and the manga do such a good job of like letting you know who these people are so fast. Like the characterization is so good.
Yeah, and it's very much a thing of like every character, it's almost like wrestling in a certain way.
Okay.
Every character, right when they show up on the panel, you get an instant reaction to them.
Oh, 100%.
Armstrong is like, oh, he's this giant, muscly guy, but he has a goofy mustache. So you already get the kind of dichotomy of him. Roy
100%.
comes on and he's got the cool gloves. And you're like, okay, I get who this guy is. Hawkeye, Riza Hawkeye. You could just tell looking at her, you're like, all right, she's badass. Like,
It's so, and like it goes back to that characterization thing of like it's so good at. I mean, I reckon, and this has probably been done a million times on Tumblr. I just haven't come across it. I reckon you could get rid of all the facial features, right? And all the kind of distinguishing things about their faces, and just post like silhouettes of the characters, and their personalities would still come across. Because
oh
like
yeah,
the designs are so strong. Like Hughes, for example. I'm looking at my little Hughes now. The fact that he has like like glasses completely offsets all of the cool shit about his design, because it's like the
Yeah,
glasses make him look so dad-like that he's like, okay, I get him now, you know. And like Roy having like the hair, the slick black hair, to juxtapose Edward's like blonde ponytail, like it's so good. The only one it doesn't work with, which is the point, is Alphonse. He's the
yeah,
only character that doesn't look like he is, and that's the whole thing with him. Is like, you know, his curse is that he's cursed to be the one person in this world that doesn't get to be himself. You know.
yeah,
And
exactly.
oh my god, that show is so good. Well, the manga, but the
It's
show.
great. It's all good. It's all good,
I've
and
been.
it just reminds me how much I love Full Metal. It's one of my like top three,
It's
maybe favorite thing of all time.
it is really really strong. It's one of the things that I jump to when people who have never read manga, like they've never read manga or watched anime, they always go like, where do I start? And like if they're into like action stuff, I'll always go Full Metal, but if they're not, then I'll go with something a bit slice of lifey. But like Full Metal
Yeah.
is such a good, I mean, even just like Full Metal is one of those books where you could take out all the bubbles, and it would still be compelling. Because I don't
Yeah.
know how much you remember the manga, and it might be in the anime, but the first page of the first volume of Full Metal is just like scary. It's just like Edward like reaching over, and it's like the flashback
Oh,
to like,
the flashback scenes. Oh
yeah,
my
yeah,
God.
yeah, and it's so
I still
scary.
vividly like remember that and just the scene of with just the blood. Like it was interesting because it was like no, a way I hadn't really seen blood like depicted before
Yeah, yeah,
because it wasn't that like just globs. It was like streaks. It was like striking
yeah. It
the
was
ground and whatever, and it was like not even like gushing out almost.
it was like in between like a quote unquote realistic blood that you see, and then the other
Yeah,
side of that is like Tarantino, where it's like uber violent. There was either those two, like those are the ones you see the most, where it's like completely crazy violent, and then there's like realistic, where it's only a little bit of blood. But like
yeah,
Full Metal kind of, it was more violent, but it still felt real. You know, it was like spurting, but not in like a crazy over the top way. Like,
yeah. My wife was just like, "When did you see this?" And I'm like, "Oh, when I was like, I don't know, pretty young, I guess." He's like, "Yeah, this is not for kids."
it's so good. And like even stuff like, and this is proper like nerdy now, but like the architecture of the world is so
Oh
good.
yeah,
It's the way the buildings, it's just so interesting. It feels like nowhere I've ever seen before. And as much as I haven't watched it yet, because I'm sure it's not very good, and I don't want to really put myself through it. But again, it could be good. I haven't seen it. But the live action movie, did you see the trailer for that?
oh yeah,
So like it didn't look amazing, but one thing that I weirdly thought they nailed was the architecture. Like the
yeah.
buildings looked similar, and I was like, "Wow, that's kind of cool that they put that much attention to detail." But I don't know why he's wearing a blonde wig. That was just
That's
really
one of
weird.
the things with the anime movies that like come out of Japan that I've
Yeah,
just noticed is that they always like while a lot of American movies when they're adapting they go like, all right, how can we do that thing but make it look real?
mm,
This
yeah,
like it seems like the Japanese movies are more like, all right, how can we do that thing and make it look exactly like how it looks on the page?
the problem with that though is it looks like cosplay then, you know,
Yeah,
and like
like
that
the Bleach one with his like super orange hair
the
and
sword.
the giant sword, and I'm like, I get it, like it's I get what it's supposed to be, but it's not something I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, it's hard to do that and have it. The only one that really did it, and I was like, okay, this is wacky, over the top, looks like the comics, but still feels like good, was Scott Pilgrim versus the World. You know, that
Mhm.
was the only time where I saw it like do the over the top shit in live action. Every other time it just looks like cosplay, you know? And it's like cosplay's
Yeah,
cool, I love cosplay, but like in terms of a movie it's hard to get like emotionally invested.
yeah.
Do
Which
you
I also
mind?
will admit
Sorry.
I've not watched any of these movies,
No,
so I cannot
no.
fully comment on the actual, just from my opinion of
Plus, to
first glance.
completely discredit my opinion, I enjoyed the American Death Note movie. So
I
now
have not even put myself through the pain of watching it.
I've just completely destroyed everyone's opinion of me, but I enjoyed it very much. So there you go. It's
But
out there.
speaking of things that are enjoyed, that I
Ooh,
think both of us actually
ooh, what I was
enjoy.
gonna say. Do you want to bounce it around a
Uh,
bit? Should we
I was
do
gonna say, do you
mine?
want to do your other one and then we'll possibly share one? I
Yeah,
mean, I buried the lead.
because I think it's gonna be a big one, and I think we can
Yeah,
talk about it a lot. And I don't think either of us have finished it either, so it's gonna be a little
no,
bit of a
no, not even close.
spoiler free situation. Anyway, I've been watching a show on. This isn't it, by the way. This is my current fave. If it wasn't clear, I've been watching a show on Netflix recently called. I kind of started watching it as a gag because it was called The Strongest Deliveryman. And I was like, what kind of show is called The Strongest Deliveryman? That's such a weird name for a show. But stuff like that really intrigues me because I'm like, I mean, it's bold. It's like weird. And then I realized that it was Korean. And I'm like, well, maybe it's the translation thing. Maybe it sounds cool in Korean. There's a lot of stuff like that in like Japanese where it comes across and they have to change it a little bit to make it sound normal. But I'm watching the show. And firstly, it's bizarre. It's like weird. The situations are strange and stuff. And I'm kind of watching it to laugh at it. When you watch something and you're like, I don't know if I'm enjoying this, but I'm laughing at the way it's made, and I think it's funny the way it's made, and I don't know if it's intentional or not. So I was enjoying the show. I wouldn't have put it on my current fave, but I was just like, this is fun. I'll watch like an episode here or there when I got nothing to do. And then about 4 episodes in, without even realizing it, I don't know where from episode 1 to 4 it happened. But I was watching it and something happened and I started crying. Like,
Wow, this had a strong impact.
I started crying and I was like, when in the last 4 hours, because it's like an hour episode, when in the last 4
Yeah.
hours did I become attached to this show? Like, I don't know. Because I watched it very spaced out as well. Like, I watched it here, I watched it there. Like, it was like, it wasn't a consistent thing. I think I like stopped midway through episodes sometimes because I was like, okay, I'm not in a silly mood, so I'm not going to watch this. But then just something happened, and I realized what it was. So I've kind of gone this a really weird way, but like The Strongest Delivery on Netflix, really good show. It's Korean. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm really enjoying it. But I realized what I love about the show. I like a lot of things about the show, but the thing that I love is there's something, I don't know if it's Korean, I don't want to be racist, but just particularly this cast of actors where they are so good at crying. Like, they are insanely good at crying to the point where it is so compelling to watch because you're like, I've never seen anyone on a screen cry like this, but I've only ever seen people in real life cry like this. If you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So it's like they're crying, and I'm like, why does this feel so different to anything I've ever seen? I'm like, it's because it's the first time I've ever seen someone cry, and it looked like me when I was crying.
Oh, that's the worst.
It's insane. Like they have a range of funny enough, this show, people cry a lot, which I guess maybe they realized that they had like gold, so they wrote it into the script. But like, people cry a lot in this show, and it ranges from like, when you're like a little bit overwhelmed, there's nothing really to be upset about, but you're just a little bit overwhelmed and you have a bit of a quick cry.
Yeah.
And it's like your face isn't really crying, but your eyes are doing it, and maybe you do the every so often, like they've got those cries all the way from the scale of that all the way down to like completely, like there's a scene where a girl, she, spoilers for The Strongest Deliveryman, but this is like episode 2, she like saves a guy from committing suicide, and she thinks that he's dead. She pulls him out of the water and then she revives him, and he brings her back to, right, he starts breathing and he's like coughing up water, and then she's so relieved that she saved him, and she just breaks down in such a good way, such a realistic way, that I just started crying. I was just like I felt it so much. And it's so weird because I'm not, slamming the actors. The acting is fine. It's good, ranging from good to like a little bit cringy. But
Yeah.
even the cringy actors, the ones that I can't quite believe aren't just reading a script, when they cry, it's amazing. And I don't know what it is. It's really strange. It's like they all went to some coaching like service right before they started shooting the show, and then they were all like, "Okay, we can cry. That's the one thing we can do." So
They're
yeah.
like, I want you to learn one thing.
And some British guy is gonna really enjoy it. So if you ever were like, "Hey, I want to see the best crying ever," I strongly recommend you watch The Strongest Delivery Man. I won't get too much into the plot because I haven't finished it. Maybe I'll do a sequel to this when I finish season 1. But yeah, that's what I've been enjoying, and I've also been enjoying the same thing that you've been enjoying, John.
Good old fashioned web slinging, picture taking, backpack collecting Peter Parker.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Where to start? John, where are you in the story? Please tell me.
Okay, so I'm still pretty early on. I have basically I'm supposed to be going to the bank to stop the shocker.
Okay, perfect. Fantastic. I'm quite past that, but also I think I'm only about halfway through the game. Like
Okay.
there's like an event in the game where it's like, okay, shit just got real, and I'm only a
Yeah.
little bit past that. So shit just got real like maybe an hour ago for me.
Yeah,
And
shit has we just figured out that like there might be other people hanging out, but like nothing's really going on.
okay, so this game is crazy. I think we both agree that we're enjoying the game. Would you agree?
Oh, I'm in love with it.
I do have little things here and there, but like the one thing I will say about this game, is that this is my experience with it. Tell me if you agree with this. I keep so I keep doing these things, right, where I'm like, oh man, why is this like this? Why is the game making this aspect of the game like this? That's frustrating. I'm never going to get used to this. And then like an hour later, when I finally gotten used to it, I'm like, I can't see it being any other way.
Yeah.
So like web swinging, I was like, I'm so used to the old like PS2 games because I loved those games. I loved the old PS2 like based on the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, and like I played those so much, and they have such a particular way of like the holding the button to jump really high. I don't know if you remember doing
Yeah.
that, but it would like charge at the
It
bar.
was just the X button was all you needed.
Yeah. And like that's what I started doing in this game. I started holding X, and he would just kind of like jump normally, and I'd be like, "What's going on here?" So then I would get frustrated. It's like, what is this new swinging system? Why is it that I can zip, like I can target things, you know, and zip
And
specifically to
now
things?
it's like the best. You feel I like there's if there's one thing I have to say about this game, is that this makes you feel what you think playing the older Spider-Man games was like.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like it it perfectly matches the memory of like, oh yeah, man, Spider-Man 2 had great swinging. Like I haven't touched it in forever, but my memory of it is I felt like Spider-Man. This plays like I remember that game playing.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of those things where you know, Spider-Man 2, it was insanely good for the time. But you can't release Spider-Man 2 again and expect people to still
Yeah.
be in awe of it. You have to up the ante, and this game upped the ante so much. I really didn't understand how they would make a retinal system work. You know, like it
Yeah.
just feels Spider-Man doesn't have a gun. Like, yeah, maybe if he's shooting web, I get that. But like with regards to swinging, but now it's like it's so seamless. It's like you just look around, and obviously it's not you're not like looking with the retina. It locks onto things for you. It
Yeah, it's just
suggests
kind of
things.
like it's like if you were actually swinging and your eyes are just kind of darting and you're
Mm.
like, "Oh, I could go there. Huh. Oh, I see that ledge. Maybe I could go there if I wanted to." Like it's almost like, "Hey, these are just possibilities."
Yeah, and what's cool is the game. It feels really good at the beginning of the game. It feels like, wow, I could do anything. You know, I can swing, I can climb, I can do whatever you want. But then when you get upgrades throughout the game, and you upgrade your mobility, it's like, I didn't even think to do this, but now I'm so glad that I have it. You know, it never feels like, oh, I wish I had this earlier in the game. But now that you have it, you're like, shit, I'm so glad this is now a thing I could do, because it's like infinite more possibilities. Like, it's crazy. And it was the same with the combat for me. I came into this game, I mean, my favorite superhero game of all time is Arkham City, and it's hard not to compare other games to this. To that game. So I came in expecting Arkham City, and even though it looks like Arkham City if you're watching like a Let's Play, it's very different just by how gymnastic-y Spider-Man is in compared to Batman. Like, I don't know about you, John, but you find yourself spending a lot more time in the air and spending a lot more time jumping around than you did in
No, I
Arkham
had a
games.
problem with the combat at first because I wasn't getting it because I was playing it like Batman.
Yeah.
And I had to realize I was like, it sounds so dumb, but I'm like, I need to play this game like Spider-Man. I don't need to play this game like I'm Batman. Because I'm
Yeah.
just like, all right, let me hit square and counter, and it's not countering, you're dodging.
Yeah.
That's a difference.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, because I
100%.
kept on just waiting for it, and I'm like, all right, let me counter. And I'm like, well, I'm not really countering. I'm dodging. And so once I started using that as a dodge instead of a counter, and once like now, uppercut in the air, hit web zip. Like now I'm just going all over the place. When at
It's
first I was just kind of in the center, just like, all right, let me just brawl.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head of the whole, like, the difference between dodging and countering. And it's quite funny because it kind of sums up a big difference between Batman and Spider-Man, you know? And, like, on a, you know, on a character level as well. Of, like, Batman will, like, he won't just counter. He'll make that counter count by also inflicting pain on the enemy. But Spider-Man, he just wants to get out of the way, you know? He'll just like
Yeah,
and when you're playing it with that mindset and being like, listen, I'm here to do what I need to do, and if someone tries to hit me, I'm gonna get out of the way and just carry on doing what I was gonna do. It's so much easier to get into it then, because like this guy with a missile launcher behind me, right? And like my thing's going off and I'm like, oh god, there's a missile coming for me. And when I first started playing, I was like, okay, so I gotta dodge that missile and now I gotta run to that guy and beat him up before he shoots more missiles. But then you realize, no, Spider-Man can dodge missiles no problem. So let me just
yeah,
keep punching this dude, and then the guy with the missile launcher will keep shooting at me, and I'll just dodge his missiles casually,
yeah.
and then keep
I've gotten to
punching
the
the
point
dude.
where like I just let people start shooting at me, and I just duck under, and the other bad guys get hit by it.
It's so good. And like the really early on in the game where I was really frustrated with everything, I was like, why isn't it like this? The first moment where I had a glimpse of like, ooh, was when you first dodge a missile. It's just the coolest
Yeah.
thing.
Oh,
Because you're like, oh god, what is that? You press circle, and all of a sudden slow mo, and he just misses it, and you're just like, I'm Spider Man.
yeah. So the gameplay is obviously a lot of fun. It's really
Yes.
great. But what really gets me is I'm just so happy that this is a self-contained thing. It brings me no better joy than for someone to create their own universe
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
because holy crap, this is the most interested I've been in a Spider-Man world in forever. Like I just want all the little details. I just start collecting backpacks and reading and like listening to things because it's just such an interesting history of like, all right, what has Peter seen? What has he not seen? What happened between him and MJ? Like, everything's just so well done.
It's really. I mean, this is where I think it positively is similar to Arkham for me, in that they go, okay, they all know the comics, right? Everyone playing this, well, not everyone, but a lot of people playing this game know the comics. So let's give them most of that backstory from the comics. You know, most of the fights, like Electro is still like his first superpowered enemy, and like I don't want to spoil a lot of things for the game, but like a lot of the backstory that we know of Spider-Man from the comics still exists in this. But let's pick a couple of villains and go, what if they didn't happen when they happened? You know?
Yeah,
And it's really cool because Arkham did it like really well, but Arkham kind of went all the way where it was like every single thing you ever heard about Batman happened, you know? And now we have to
yeah.
make up new stories. Spider-Man kind of does it the middle way. It goes, yeah, most of it happened, but we can save some of the interesting characters like Dr. Octavius, like, you know, we can save some of those and kind of and cook them.
And
And one of the
yeah, and
biggest
do different
ones.
things with them.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, and do more interesting, not more interesting, but differently interesting things. You know, um,
Yeah.
my one complaint in that area though, and again, it's not. I don't think this is a bad thing per se. It's just it's one of those awkward things of like how I keep comparing it to Arkham, and I know I shouldn't, but like it's a lot less lore heavy than I would have liked. It gives you breadcrumbs as opposed to
Yeah.
full like there are a lot of side stuff right in the game. The backpacks is a great example. When I was doing the backpacks, I really enjoyed it because, like you said, you learn lots of little things. But I felt like I was still in my Arkham City kind of brain. I was like, when I complete this, when I get every single backpack, I'm gonna do something. Either I'm gonna flash back to young Spider-Man, which is what my assumption was gonna be, because it was kind of going that route of like, you know, retreading your steps, or I'm gonna have to fight like a villain that was like one of his first villains, you know, like maybe the Sandman or something. But then you collect all the backpacks, and the story was the backpacks. There's no conclusion. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, good job. And like I was like, I shouldn't expect anything because I enjoyed the backpacks. But it's this weird thing in my brain where I'm like, I'm enjoying the universe so much that I just want it more. I wanted them to give it to me now as opposed to like waiting.
Someone made a really astute observation, uh, where they said that they wanted this to be like a great Spider-Man movie
Okay.
and realized that it was like a really good season of television.
Oh, that's really good. That's really good.
And so, and just thinking, like, thinking of this as like, wait, this is like a video game series. This is a franchise now. We're going to get a Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac, which is going to have more backpacks. Like,
Mm.
not literally backpacks, but more, you know, breadcrumbs like that and more Easter eggs to flesh out the world. And so it's weird because it's like, at first, I do just want to, I want an info dump. Just give me everything.
Yeah.
But then I'm also like, but it is kind of fun just like not not knowing everything
Yeah, I mean that is a
because I
good
am just we
comparison.
are visiting this world, you know. It's not like this is something that we're going to get a lot of, like, you know, it's going to be something that we're going to see a lot. So it's like, all right, like we're not going to throw and dump everything on you because that also would make for kind of maybe a boring game.
Yeah, I mean, you could. I like that comparison because it can almost be seen that like the Arkham trilogy is like a trilogy of movies,
Yeah,
whereas this, like you said, is like season one of Insomniac Spider-Man. You know, or like I like it whether they call it Marvel Spider-Man. Like that's the name
yeah.
of the game, you know, because it's very distinct. Um, it's so the story I think it was these opinions I had were at the beginning because I just whenever I got like a side quest I would completely 100% it before moving on because I didn't want to like have those lingering side quests. So as soon as they were like, hey, there's backpacks, I was like, okay, I'll get all 50 backpacks right now.
Yeah, I think I've
So
got like 27 so far.
and they're just super fun and they're just more-ish, you know, you want to keep getting more. But what it was is I had all these opinions of like, ah, man, I wish the backpacks led to something. I wish the research centers led to something. I wish, you know, yada yada yada, like all these different side quests. But then when I finally, you know, committed to the story, when I completed a lot of the side quests, I realized that the main story, a lot of effort has been put into that main story of
Yeah,
it being a almost um it's like the game is the main story, you know, like the side quests are cool and they're additional stuff and I like them, but I think that Insomniac really wanted to nail this story and not so much worry about the world because
yeah.
it is a good open world, but more than an open world, this goes back to what we were saying last episode. I don't think it's as much an open world as it is a playground. It's like a
Yeah,
gymnasium, you know, as opposed to Arkham City, where Arkham City is like every street corner has story. This is more like a gymnasium where every so often you'll be like, oh shit, look, it's that thing from the comics, or it's that thing
yeah.
from from Spider-Man
I think
history.
my favorite thing about it is that, or something I really like about it, everything's my favorite thing about it, is that this is how like it feels like what it would feel like if you're a Spider-Man. And one of my favorite things is that they really do the balance well,
Mm,
where sometimes you do a major story mission and then you just do shit until you get a phone call for Peter Parker.
yes.
and they really blend together Peter and Spider-Man's life. Um,
Mm,
which I mean is obviously the main like thing in all Spider-Man comics is how he tries so hard to separate the two things, but then they always somehow keep mixing together because
yeah.
it's a futile effort. It'll never he can't you can't ever actually separate the two.
Mm.
And so I just love this fact of like, all right, cool, I'm just gonna go out and stop some crimes and like maybe take some pictures of some stuff. It's like I had this thought of like because I went to Avengers Tower
Okay, yeah.
and I jumped off of it and I took a selfie. And I was just like in my head, I'm like, this is legitimately what I would be like as a human being if I was Spider-Man.
Yeah. You are right, like it nails the idea of like being Peter Parker, being Spider-Man, because like, I complain about like the idea of like the backpack's not leading to anything, right? But like if you are making a game where you're Peter Parker, you are Spider-Man, he would just pick up the backpacks, like he wouldn't,
Yeah.
they wouldn't be, when you're comparing it to Arkham City, Batman isn't a teenager who's struggling to, pull these life's, this life choice of like, am I a teenager? Am I trying to keep them separated? I feel responsible. I have a crush on this girl that dumped me 6 months ago. Like none of that is in Batman's
Oh
brain.
my God, that story is. I'm still like I literally just had like the scene where they went to their first date spot, whatever.
Oh yes, 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 yes.
And I'm just like, this is the most I've cared about this relationship ever.
That's the thing. I like Mary Jane and I like Peter Parker. I've never really liked them together until
Yeah,
this game, and they're not
yeah,
actually
I've never
together.
cared about him. Now I'm just like, oh my gosh. I mean, I've heard the complaints about Mary Jane about how she's kind of like basically Lois Lane or basically female Peter Parker. Um,
Yeah.
I don't get that fully. I understand the idea of like her being a reporter. It's like easy to make those, but I feel like she is very much her own person.
She
And just how she approaches things.
Yeah, I understand the people that say Lois Lane. I kind of get them, because the thing is that she doesn't. Peter Parker feels like Peter Parker to me. He feels like Peter Parker. He's different to my Peter Parker. Everyone has their own fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Oh, it's not my Spider-Man. Obviously, he's not my Spider-Man because they don't exist in my brain, and I didn't expect him
he's
to
an
be.
Insomniac Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but he feels like Spider-Man. He feels like a
yeah.
version of Spider-Man to me. And have you met? Oh,
Okay, I know a lot about the game because
okay.
I've seen stuff and heard
This
people
is
talk about it.
this is pretty
I know about
easy.
Miles.
Okay, but this is pretty easy to say. Have you
Yeah.
met Norman Osborn yet?
No, but he's been threaded.
I mean, you.
Like
It's
I
not
know
a
he's showing
spoiler to
up.
say
Yeah.
that he's going to
No.
show up, But like Norman Osborn
Well,
again.
literally, like at one scene in the game, it's like Osborn Industries. I'm like, okay, well, Mayor Osborn. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but like he's very different to the Osborn that I kind of know, and who is my version of Osborn, but he still feels like Osborn. Whereas Mary Jane, to me, feels very, very different to any MJ I know. But I don't dislike her. It's one of those
Yeah.
things where it's like it's a huge change, but it's not one that I dislike. And that's not to say that I don't like Mary Jane. I love the character of Mary Jane. My favorite Mary Jane is in Spectacular Spider-Man,
All
where
right.
she's like flirty with Pete, but she doesn't like him. She's just flirty with everyone, and that's just kind of who she is. She's really cool, and like she's just very like quick on her feet. And she ends up going out with Flash, and like I like that Mary Jane. This is not that Mary Jane. This is kind of like hybrid Lois Lane, Mary Jane, kind of. It's a very different new character, but I very much like her, so I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain
See,
about
my
a very
thing is,
different thing.
I weirdly get like Kirsten Dunst vibes.
Really?
I think it's more so not in the way of like how she acts her, but like the points and the things that her character believes in and
Mm.
the difficulties in her relationship with Peter
Yes. Okay.
are kind of
Yeah.
the same ones that are teased in the original Spider-Man movies. And so this
Yeah.
feels like that done well.
Kind of like Spider-Man
So it's like I
2.
could see where that character, if she had actually gotten development, could
Mm.
could have gone to that point
I get
or
what you're
could be
saying.
in that place.
Yeah. I mean, I never really. That's an interesting point because I never really consider not that I don't consider her Mary Jane, but like that's such a different like
Yeah.
person. The Kirsten Dunst one is such a different interpretation. And again, it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't mind that they changed the character. But it's like weird that they had like they could have put Gwen Stacy in that role and it would have worked out the
Would have
exact
been,
same.
yeah, the exact same.
And I really like Gwen Stacy, so it's like a really weird thing to me. Whereas the difference between that and this, like you said, other than the development, I would say is that I don't think this could have been Gwen Stacy. She still has that fire, you know. She still has that like the fire that MJ has. That's a similarity, I think. That Gwen is more sensitive and more like Gwen, I feel like would have stayed with him way past because she would feel like, oh, I don't know, I don't like him anymore.
MJ like kind of giving him shit and like
yeah, and like I love the line where I was like, whoa, that feels like comic book MJ is when she goes, do you remember why we broke up? I was like, oh damn.
Oh no, that whole conversation at the diner is amazing. It's just so well acted and so well done.
But yeah, I just don't want people to think that because I think she's different, it doesn't mean she's bad. I think she's enjoyable.
Yeah,
I really like her. The characters that are frustrating me are it's not the characters. I'm trying to play the game as Peter Parker, but every so often I remember that I'm Cameron Morris. It's hard to be invested with Otto because it's like we all know what happens, you know. It's like. And again, for some reason that works other times. There have been, you know, like a Spectacular Spider-Man again is one of those reiterations of Spider-Man. It's an animated show where it's retelling the origins of all these villains, but for some reason I cared more then. Whereas this one, I feel like they're trying so hard to be like, look, he's a great guy that I for some reason there's a block to me where I'm like, I know he's gonna be, Doc Ock.
That's my thing. Is like there are some scenes where I'm like, this is. I think the main thing is when it's not like a cutscene.
Yes. Yeah.
When Peter and Otto are in the same room, I think it works really well. But when you hear Otto over the phone or when you hear any of his recordings, it's like, we're gonna make a breakthrough soon, and I'm like, you sound like an evil mad scientist.
Yeah, and what's weird is when Pete goes, wow, Otto's really enjoying himself, and I'm like,
yeah,
in hindsight, that's not really what I would say.
And it's like, you sound evil, so it's this weird thing of like another wrestling thing.
Okay.
So like a good wrestling match, you have expectations that are already set up. Your job is to divert those expectations for as long as possible. But then at the end, eventually you want to satisfy those expectations.
Yeah, 100%. I get what you're saying.
So with Otto, it's like you want to like give it to them as much. You want them to want it as much as possible, but keep on going away from it to where the idea is that once it happens, it's going to be this amazing thing. That doesn't always occur because, well, it just depends on, how you're telling the story and the length of time and audiences.
Yeah, and I really think they could have done more. And again, maybe they will, because without spoiling it, he's still just a mild-mannered scientist with big aspirations.
We're still waiting for it to happen. We're still waiting for it to happen.
It could even be in a sequel, I don't know if it's going to happen in this game, but the thing is I feel like they could have done a better job at doing what you said, where it's like, yeah, if they want to do Doc Ock, then I'm not saying don't do Doc Ock. I'm not saying that he doesn't eventually need to put the arms on, but convince me more that he's not going to before he does.
Honestly, I would love if we didn't get Doc Ock.
It would be
and then
cool.
We get that in the next game, and just like and then 2/3 of the way through the next game, not even immediately, just make us sit with this and actually convince ourselves. Because the audience is its own best tool.
Yeah.
Because we will convince ourselves that, this is a new universe. Maybe we're just wrong.
Yeah, 100%. And I think they could even, like, if they wanted to push it, I don't know how you'd do this, but it would be awesome if you could pull it off. You could even have him become Doc Ock, but not, like, evil villain Doc
like a
Ock.
good... Yeah, yeah.
Like, he could get the arms, and he could be like, okay, I have the arms, and I'm using the arms, and you see him a lot with the arms, and he's kind of slowly developing the suit. Sorry, what do you say?
Telltale Batman.
Yes,
The
yes,
the Joe the John
100%.
Doe story,
Yes,
which is a perfect example of denying those expectations. And then, well, the thing is that's weird because you can go two different routes, but eventually, even I think if you go to the good route, you guys still fight each other
yeah.
and have that moment.
And it's good in that because it's like okay, I knew this was coming, but it's the journey, the journey that
Yeah,
it took me on was different, and I like the idea of like him. He changes and he's got the green all of a sudden. He's got the green coat, and maybe he's welding and he has these goggles, and he's like, oh, I like these goggles. Maybe I'll keep them.
yeah, yeah. I think the thing is that this feels too. The problem also is that Spider-Man 2 kind of did this story with a Doc Ock as a mentor.
Yeah, but the thing with Spider-Man 2 is like it's so, again, this is a TV show, that was a movie.
Yeah,
We already knew that he was going to be evil, but it happened at such a whiplash pace that we were like,
yeah,
"Oh god, I didn't expect this. I didn't." To care so much about him, like that didn't have to worry about developing Doc Ock. He becomes Doc Ock at like the end of the first act, and then the rest of it is his like redemption almost, at the end of the movie. Whereas this is his origin, and it's
yeah.
more about his origin, and I'm quite far through the game, and he's still just like, Peter, I have crazy ideas.
Here's some cool gadgets, Pete. You make
I
stuff for Spider-Man, right?
I didn't want to end this on like characters that I'm not enjoying, so I do want to mention Mary Jane is not Mary Jane. Oops, Freudian slip. Aunt May is so good.
Oh my God.
She's
This is my
so
favorite
so
version of
sweet.
Aunt May.
I think it might be my favorite. Before this was Ultimate Spider-Man, the comic book
This
Ultimate
does
Spider-Man.
take a lot of cues from Ultimate, but
Yeah,
not as much cool hippie, but more like just sweet.
it takes like the cool hippiness, but she's still a sweet old lady. You know.
Yeah.
Um.
Just the scene where she gives him like the $100 or whatever,
Oh
or a
God,
couple
yeah.
hundo. I think she dropped some bank on him.
Oh, here, Peter, take a couple hundo.
Oh, that's my Aunt May.
Yeah, but I think the moment solidified it for me is right after the party that you have for her. It's like really early on into meeting May. Like you've barely even
Yeah.
know her as a player. But right after the party, and the party scene's nice, but she calls you and you talk to her about. You do most of the talking. Like Pete does most of I love that the game's so good that I keep calling Spider-Man me. Like
Yeah.
you. Like that's how good the game is at making you feel like Spider-Man. But Spider-Man does most of the talking. He's talking to Aunt May and he's saying how much like he says specifically like after Uncle Ben died, if it wasn't for you, I'd probably be in such a low place and I'm not sure I'd be able to carry on. So I'm like, I don't know why this affected me so much towards Aunt May as opposed to Peter. But then she just says, yeah, you did the same to me. Like it's such a small gesture, and she has such little
Yeah.
dialogue in that call. But it made me understand her in a way that I'd never done it before because she's always felt like the giver, in Spider-Man. Not in a bad way, but just she's always felt like the mentor, the giver, the person that knows all. But in this game is the first time where I've been like, she's been through shit too. And like
Yeah.
Peter has helped her. Peter always seems like a burden in other things to her. It's like, oh fuck, Peter, what are you doing now? Like I love Amazing Spider-Man, the movie, but even in that, it's like she's worried about him a lot and stuff. Whereas in this, it's like he is helping her as well. It's not a one-way thing, and I really, really like that. I really dug that about
And
it.
I like her being a social worker too, because I think that
Oh,
just
yeah.
and all the
So
stuff with Martin Lee actually. I like haven't obviously like we don't know he's Mr. Negative yet, like in my game, but like I know he's Mr. Negative.
Martin Lee is such a good character, but the marketing ruined it for me because Doc Ock is like, yeah, obviously he's going to turn evil, but if they hadn't have put Mr. Negative in all the promotional footage and all the posters and stuff, I get that they wanted to go with a bit of an obscure villain, as opposed to
Yeah.
like one of the big ones. But if they hadn't, I genuinely wouldn't have put it together. Like I would be like, oh yeah, that's I mean, obviously at some
Because
point
I
down
think
the
the
line.
game does such a good job of playing with your expectations, of going, here's Doc Ock, by the way, here's Mayor Osborn. Oh, by the way, like, so in not making them immediately villains.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
in your brain, you're going, okay, which one of you is the secret?
Yeah.
Which one of you is gonna turn?
And then there's Martin Lee, who's just the nicest guy, the nicest guy ever. And honestly,
He
as
makes her a
much,
cake.
oh man, as much as I knew it was coming and was bummed out at the fact that I knew it was coming, I still, because of how good it was done, I still felt it a lot. You know, like spoilers. I mean, you knew it was happening, but like when it does happen, I still feel it a lot because of how much of a relationship you build with that character and how much of his relationship with Aunt May is so important. You know, to
Yeah,
Peter. Like he says, he's like, you know, you gave her a second life, like you, and the way that Martin Lee talks is like you genuinely like it's the difference between the Doc Ock complaint we had, where Doc Ock sounds like a crazy, insane villain, whereas Martin Lee, he actually sounds like he genuinely means it when he says to May, he's like, "You came and you inspired me." You know,
yeah,
it's like you feel like that is not him going. And later, I'm going to take over the city.
yeah. No, it's like no, he's just like a guy who believes in this center and believes in Aunt May.
Yeah, and I can't wait for
Now
you
the
to.
important question.
Ooh, okay, okay, okay,
This is the most important question we'll end the Spider-Man discussion on.
okay.
What suit are you most using? I don't have all of them right now.
Okay, I have a lot of them.
I
Um,
don't think the suits are a spoiler, by the way. You can tell me any of them. I don't really
okay,
care.
okay. Well, the one I have, my favorite, you do know anyway. It's weird why I like it though. The one I wear all the time when right, you know when I do the story, I always wear the white one, the white spider, you know,
Yeah, I
generic.
started feeling like weird when I got into my first cutscene when I was not in that costume. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, this feels goofy. Okay, let me
yeah.
switch.
So I do all the side missions in my favorite costumes. I try change and try them out, but like I never do the main story in different costumes. But the one I most commonly use in side quests is the homemade homecoming suit. Um,
Oh,
Now this is weird because I like that suit in the movie. It's cool. I like that he has to put it back on at the end because it's like he's returning to his roots and he loses all the abilities. However, it's not the reason that I like it is because of Homecoming. That's not why. I've just always loved those pre-Spider-Man suits. Like in every single iteration, I've always loved them. Whether it's the wrestling costume from Spider-Man 1,
yeah.
the weird like almost mugger looking Spider-Man from the Amazing Spider-Man, the ones from the comics. I love the ones in Spectacular. I know I keep talking about Spectacular, but that is a great show.
It's really
Like
good.
I've just always loved the idea of because Peter Spider-Man suit is iconic. Everyone knows Spider-Man suit, but there is no way, even Peter Parker being a genius, there's no way that he didn't at least have prototypes that look terrible.
Yeah.
And this is just the only one that's available, except for you do unlock the wrestler suit later on.
Ooh.
But it's just not as vibrant, it's not as colorful,
Uh,
and I just like that. I like the idea of proto suit. It's just I and like it's just it feels more. I know he's not a teenager in this anymore, so he should have like the adult suit, but it feels more Spider-Man to me. It's like
yeah.
Spider-Man is this teenager, whether he's a boy or a girl, it doesn't really matter because like Spider-Gwen works just as well. But like he's just a teenager who wants so bad to be a superhero, and like it's why I also don't like him being in the Avengers a lot of the times because it's like Spider-Man should look up to the Avengers, but he shouldn't be on par. You know, he should be
Yeah.
like, I want to be like him, but I'm gonna be better than them by even not even knowing. Like, and I think the proto suit's always so. That's the suit that I'm like. I'm doing right now. Also, you get it from the backpacks as well, which is like it reminds me of how good
Uh,
the backpacks were.
well, okay, so the backpacks do have an end.
Yeah, it's not like I would be
You
cool
get a new
if
suit. I mean, it's not like a story thing, but
yeah, it would have been super cool if the last backpack had the suit in it, but it doesn't.
yeah. Or
Uh,
if you had like a flashback, like you played a flashback
oh
mission in
yeah,
that
dude,
suit.
that would be cool. So what's the suit that you use then?
Weirdly, this is a weird one. So far, I don't have a whole lot unlocked.
Okay.
Um, I think the most recent one that I can make is the Secret Wars one.
I never liked that one. I always thought it looked
Me
goofy.
neither. But weirdly, I've been using the Spider-Man Noir.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it was one of those things where, like, at first I was like, "Oh yeah, man, I'll probably play like maybe the Scarlet Spider one," you
Hmm.
know. And then once I actually like I put it on and I went away from the pause menu, I was like, oh wow, this just looks really good
It,
in the
it
city, and especially because I was playing at night during the
oh
time.
yes, dude,
I
yes.
was just like, this is great. Like I'm just in love with this.
Spider-Man Noir has always been such a cool design because it's like it's such a people always do it. They go superheroes, but in this time period, superheroes in this
Yeah,
time period, and they've done it for Spider-Man in every single time period. But it's weird that the Noir one is always the one that stood out the most, and I think
yeah,
it's because it's so different. It's such um, it's not just it's made of like an older material, but it generically just looks like a Spider-Man suit. It doesn't. If you didn't tell people that it was Spider-Man, you wouldn't really be able to tell at first glance.
yeah.
Like it's
It looks like a pulp action hero, like
it's so
the
good. It's
Black
like the
Beetle
shadow.
or something.
Oh, Black Beetle is a great example. Yeah, like he it's just like a I don't know, like the goggles, the coat as well. The coat
And I
is
like
so
the
cool.
sweater look under, like the corduroy sweater thing, like
Yeah,
underneath, like
and I
the second layer. Like, oh,
and I just imagine underneath, like he pulls the mask off, and he's got like a gruff beard, and he's smoking a
yeah,
cigar, and he's like nothing
exactly.
like Peter.
So that's been a weird one that I've been using a lot though.
No, I get it. I totally get it. At night, that's a great time to use it because like you get some of those action shots, some of those great
Yeah.
like pause, go into photo mode,
By the way, if you
get the
go to
frame.
at John Johnson on Twitter, I posted a photo of me taking a selfie with the Avengers A after I dived off the building in the noir suit, so you can see everything we're talking about.
It all comes wrapped together. Oh my goodness, jeez, we talked a lot about Spider-Man, but I think this
Yeah,
we'll obviously when we both finish the game, we'll come back, we'll talk a bit more about the story aspect of it.
yeah, definitely.
And maybe update our favorite suits. Because I've got a lot of suits, but I don't think anything has come close to that proto suit yet for me.
Yeah.
So, big topic today, John. You've posted a big boy, a big one that honestly I don't know a lot about. You wanted to talk about. Sorry, I shouldn't
Oh, I'm
introduce
going
the
to talk
topic.
about. So New York Comic Con is going on.
Yes,
It's
yes,
not
it is.
finished.
It isn't. No, we're still getting
But there is
updates.
some news that's been released from it
Here's the
that I think
thing.
would be interesting to talk about.
I have to preface this, and I feel bad, but I do not regret it. I've been staying away from a lot of trailers.
Yeah.
Um, so I haven't seen a lot of trailers from New York Comic Con. I don't think I've seen any actually. Um, and it's purely because I've started to get angry and angrier with movies where things happen and I go, wow, that would be really cool if I didn't know it was already going to happen,
Yeah.
like Amazing Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man was one of those where I was like, man, I wish I didn't know Martin Lee was a bad guy, like I just, it's just like it's just little things like that. So I have stayed away. Usually I'll watch like a trailer when it first comes out, so like the first Aquaman trailer, the first
Yeah.
Shazam trailer, the first Titans trailer, but the more it comes out. So when we do get to those topics, because inevitably we will, I'll just give my opinions on the movie, but I won't be able to comment specifically on trailers because like I just don't want to spoil it for myself. But should we go through some of the big things first, and maybe you can mention some of the things I might have missed because I only know like a generic idea of it.
Yeah, so I've only got really a couple of things that for me were like these are things that I think I want to talk about. So there's some Doom Patrol news.
Ooh, I did not hear this. Please hit me with the
Yeah,
Doom Patrol.
so Brendan Fraser's doing the voice of Robot Man, which I think was already announced,
Yeah, I think we
but
talked about that, but
I think
that was
that's
so
just
good.
super cool. Just the more and more I think about that, the more and more I enjoy it.
It's great.
But Matt Bomber from he's from White Collar.
Ooh, yes, I
Yeah,
know Matt
he's
Bomber.
Negative Man. He's gonna
That's
do the
really
voice of
cool.
Negative Man, I should say.
That's very cool.
Um,
He was
yeah,
like in the running for Superman a lot, wasn't he? Like he's always like
yeah,
people's picks for Superman or Batman. I think he goes in between.
yeah, really, because he's super handsome and chiseled, and so he can kind of play both fields.
Yeah, he's a good actor. He is a good actor.
Yeah, and so the more I hear about that show, the more interested I'm in it. It
Yeah.
seems like supposedly they're going to be recruited by Cyborg.
What?
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. So
which
that
I'm
means
curious now. Does because I believe it had a different actor's name listed for Cyborg. I should have probably done more research, but
eh.
so I'm curious if this is the Titans universe. If we've Cyborg shows up at the end of that, and then that leads into this.
Ooh, that would be interesting because I mean I think it's confirmed now that other than in Teen Titans, the animated show, that like Cyborg is just off the team now, which bums me
Yeah,
out. But like,
It does.
if they could somehow be like, okay, he's off the team, but he knows the Titans and he'll team
Yeah.
up with them, that would be cool. Because presumably Doom Patrol exists in the DC.
So that's what I've led to believe is that it's in the live action universe.
Yeah, so there's like three now. There's like the movie universe, the DC TV, which is like obviously Greg Berlanti and all those, and then there's this new one, which is DC Universe, and it's like,
Yeah.
but like also then there's Black Lightning, which is on the CW, but
But
isn't
it's
gonna
its
cross
own
over.
world.
It's all confusing, dude.
But the first initial impressions from Titans are out from the first episode, and people seem to like it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they're right, dude. I mean
Yeah.
I've heard some people being like the visuals are a lot better in live action. Which is funny because like the only person whose costume I liked was Robin's, and this is the
Yeah.
only one that I really saw in live action. I heard as well from New York Comic Con, I don't know if this was a rumor or it was confirmed, that Starfire does eventually get her costume, and that she's not just like in a coat or something. Like she gets like
Yeah, so they
Starfire
did
esque.
a new they did a trailer like Meet the Team trailer or whatever.
Okay.
And it seems like all of the characters are going to have like their normal comic book origins.
Oh, fantastic!
But I
That's good.
think they're going to be played for more of a mystery. Because we see flashes of Starfire getting experimented on. I'm assuming that's on Tamaran.
Yeah.
I think she makes a comment about not being from here.
Dope.
The Beast Boys will be interesting because
Doom Patrol.
I don't think so. Because he
I
was like locked
know.
in. Raven found him like locked in an animal cage.
I know, but like how
So I
cool
think they're
would
going
that
like
be?
scientific experiment version.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Raven seems to be full Trigun though.
Yeah, I mean,
Like these nuns put her in a place, and there's like this dark prophecy about her father. Like,
I would be very surprised if they didn't go Trigon based on the fact that she's the one in the first trailer that like brings them all together, you know?
yeah.
Which is very much a Trigon.
What
That's
weirds
the
me out?
original. Sorry.
No, I was say what weirds me out is like they have the weird Jason Todd stuff.
I heard about that. I haven't seen any of it.
So there's like Jason Todd is like Batman's new Robin in this. So
Okay,
like
that's
obviously
cool.
Jason Todd was the second Robin, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But he's like kind of like I guess it's weird because my relation to Jason Todd is angry, deceived, failure Robin.
Yeah.
While this is like early Jason Todd,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
it's like Jason Todd pretending to be happy Dick Grayson Jason Todd,
I like
which I
that
know that's
though.
probably not the story they're going with. He's probably just, a happy kid or something like that. But for me, I especially now seeing this stuff, I'm like, man, I wish Jason would be leading this Titans and Tim would be the other Robin.
Yeah, I totally get you because Jason would fit the tone of this so much better, and that might have even been the original intention, but they were like, "Oh, we can't sell it because it's not, big name."
Because who would know Jason Todd? But it's like when he's breaking necks and shit, like that's Jason. But then the weird thing is that Dick Grayson's whole thing for leaving seems to be in this universe, whatever. He was becoming too much like Batman.
Ooh,
Yeah, that
that's
seems to be his.
interesting.
He feels like he's becoming too much like Batman. So I'm hoping that this show is really. It's all of these characters who are in like really shitty situations finding their light again.
Oh my god, dude, this is
Like
weird,
I
right?
might have been way too like, but
We're
that
being
seems to
very
be the
optimistic right now.
idea. Yeah,
Well,
super
this
optimistic.
this sounds unlike funny enough that the team is the new Teen Titans, by Marv Wolfman. I mean they're very different, but that is the team. It's funny that they sound like it could be going for a bit of a new 52 Titans situation.
Yeah,
Because in that, Tim starts the Titans very much feeling like Batman. Like he's been with Batman for so long, and he's Red Robin now, so he's like late into being Robin. I think Damian is taken over as like the main
yeah.
sidekick. So like, and then throughout the series of New 52 Teen Titans, the rest of not the rest of them, but some of the other members who are a bit more cheerful, for example, Solstice and Kid Flash, they kind of bring him more out of that. They bring him less Batman-y, and they inspire him to be a bit more of a Robin character as opposed to a Batman character, you know?
Yeah,
So it would be cool to see them do that kind of storyline, but with this team, because Beast Boy would be such a good fodder for that. Like, if they bring Beast Boy in and he's gone through hell, but he's still really upbeat and positive, it would really
yeah,
show, like, Dick that there is a way to get through the darkness. Like, I don't know, maybe again we're projecting too much, but I would really like that to justify the fuck Batman
yeah,
with
exactly.
that's just him at the beginning, and he's going to develop slowly over the time.
And I
Um,
think they've already been greenlit for season 2. So,
I mean that's crazy. That's like it's interesting
but
that they
how
have
do
that
you
much
get greenlit
confidence.
for something when it's something that you pay for, and it's not on a network? So
Oh, I have a
does
bit
that
of
just mean the
news.
investors have to greenlight it?
That's true, probably. I mean,
Let me guess, it's on your fucking Netflix, isn't it? I
I'm
hate you.
so happy. I'm so happy. I was gonna buy it as well. I was totally gonna like cancel some of my other subscriptions because I was like, I can read DC again, like without going and buying comics, you know. But then this happened, and I was like, ooh boy.
Oh,
All we
man,
need
of
now is Doom
course.
Patrol. All we need is Doom Patrol. You know, ooh. Okay, moving on. Did you see the Harley Quinn clip?
Yes, that was what I was going to talk about next.
It's interesting, dude. I enjoyed it.
I thought it was good. I thought it had a good vibe. I like Poison Ivy being there. I think
I
that will really ground the show.
it feels really interesting because it's obviously like, hey, you know, Deadpool didn't get made, so let's make this. They even reference that in the show.
Yeah,
You know, it's like, you know, jumping on the not success obviously, but the anticipation of the Deadpool cartoon. But what I really like is that they could have easily have leaned into that and made her the daddy's little girl, you know, Harley Quinn,
yeah.
you know, without the mask. But it feels like 90s Harley. She has the relationship with Poison Ivy that she did back then. I would even, this is a little bit preemptive, but just based on the tone of the show, I wouldn't be surprised if they hook up. Like that
Yeah.
feels like it could happen in this show, and I really really like that. I like Harley and Poison Ivy. I
Well, I
mean,
loved their like. I don't know how much Batman's going to be in the show, but his cameo at the end.
yeah, who is that? That's the guy from Brave and the Bold.
Oh,
Um,
was it? I couldn't recognize the voice. I was like,
yeah.
that sounds like a familiar Batman voice, but I can't pin it.
Yeah, he's the guy who voiced him in Brave and the Bold. He's a great actor. He's in a couple of things. He's like, have you ever seen Balls of Fury, the comedy about ping pong?
Yeah, like a super long time ago though.
Okay, do you remember the guy who is like the slave, and he's like, "I'll save the panda. The panda's dead." Okay,
Oh,
this
God,
is
I do
really
not remember that much
sorry.
about
This is
Boston.
Balls of Fury for some reason has a special place in my heart apparently that I didn't know. Where's that guy? Anyway, he's really good. He's a really really good Batman, and he's good at playing comedy Batman. You know, he's like
Yeah,
very gravelly but funny.
he's like, there's no fun at Arkham, Harley.
But yeah, I think Harley. My opinion is positive. I'm excited for that, and I
Yeah,
hope
I
we
think
get
it
that on Netflix as well.
gratuitous violence and fourth wall breaking comedy, and hopefully deadpan Poison Ivy.
Yes, and hopefully we can get the other one around, and we can get a Gotham City Siren situation going because that would be
Yeah.
amazing.
So
Um,
next thing on my docket
okay.
is I talked about a little bit on Twitter the Aquaman trailer.
So I haven't seen the trailer, but I do want to say one of the things that made me so angry is that I avoided the trailer, and then on Tumblr someone shared an image from the trailer, which was the one thing that I wish I had not known going in. And I
Yeah,
know that the Aquaman, if I hadn't seen this, Aquaman could be terrible, right? It could be the worst movie ever. But if I didn't know this going in, and I saw this for the first time in a theater, I would have given it a 10. Because wow, does that costume look amazing.
the orange and green.
Oh,
It's so
boy.
dope.
He looks like Peter David, except without the
Yeah,
hook hand.
I do wish that his hair was brighter, because his hair does feel weird. Like come next to this is a weird thing to say, but his hair feels weird compared to the like bright
Yeah,
green and yellow.
well, even when he was dark, angry Aquaman, he still had the blonde hair, you know? So it's
Yeah,
weird to see him without the blonde hair in that suit. But,
but
oh, man.
not to
It
go
was,
too much into the trailer because you didn't watch it,
yeah.
but the one thing I like is that so we talked the last time we talked about this trailer. Last time we talked about Comic Con stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Um, was how there were a lot of disparate elements in the show.
Yes, we said there was like a
And we're like, I'm
bazillion
not
plot points.
sure how many, but this very much kind of streamlines it. It's a hunt for a MacGuffin.
Dope.
Everyone's looking for this MacGuffin, and then that is what leads to everything else. So I'm like, okay, good. I know what I'm getting into. It's a hunt for the mystical object.
It's like Rat Race.
All right. Yeah. And there are scenes that I'm like, this is looks like it's lifted straight from Uncharted.
Oh, that's cool.
So
That's
I'm
really cool.
excited for pulp adventure Aquaman, which looks like kind of what we're getting.
I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited. I've been. I will talk about it a little bit, maybe at the end of Comic Con news. But I've been really just enjoying different superhero movies now. Not to say that I don't like Marvel movies. I thought Infinity War was amazing, but like, I want to see differences. I want to see competitors
Yeah.
that aren't just copying. You know, I like Justice League. I really like Justice League. And one of the reasons I liked it wasn't because it was like, oh, you know, this is Avengers for DC heroes. It felt different in tone. And so does Aquaman and Shazam. And
I'm really hoping, like, if I could have a John, what do you think DC should do next?
yeah.
Honestly, keep doing this where you just make movies. Don't care about making it this giant thing.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
want to make a Justice League movie, guess what? You don't need this serious continuity for everyone to show up for it.
You, you don't even need Batman or
Yeah.
Superman or like it would be really cool if the next Justice League movie they were like we wanted to do another one and like Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill are in weird places right now, so it's Wonder Woman, Green Arrow, Flash. Like it would be
Yeah.
amazing. Like
And
it's just
also, I
like,
want them to just continue playing with time periods.
oh yeah, that
Because
was
I
really cool.
really want, like, a 1920s Jay Garrick Flash movie or whatever.
Oh boy, dude, it would be really cool to see a not obviously for Rebirth because he'd have to die first, but you know how like in Rebirth every single one of the Flashes gets a moment.
Yeah.
It would be cool to have a movie where it's literally just it's a team movie, but every member of the team is Flash, but they're just different
Uh,
Flashes. So he's got Ezra Miller, then you got Jay Garrick, and then you got like a Wally. Although it'd be weird to see a Wally when Ezra Miller's so young right now. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Unless it was Wally from the future
Oh wow, that would be cool. Wally is the
as an adult
mentor.
Wally, and Wally's like, "Oh, hey, like I look up to you," and Ezra Miller's like, "Hey, I'm Ezra Miller.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know
I
what
don't
to
know
do.
where I'm Ezra Miller. Uh,
And then Impulse shows up, and he's like, "Oh, Jesus Christ! I thought I could learn from you." And then Wally's. It's just all weird. Like it ends
yeah.
up that Barry is the one that learns from all of them.
But yeah, I just want them like Wonder Woman's in the 80s,
Oh, dude.
Aquaman's present movie, Shazam is present movie, but then we have maybe a Blackhawks movie from Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, we have whatever the um Black
Matt
Adam
Reeves
movie is.
Batman movie. Oh, the Black Adam movie
That's
from The
probably gonna
Rock.
be like, yeah, it's gonna be like old timey, like old timey. I mean, it's technically true, but he wouldn't
Yeah,
really say old timey, like
but
ancient
I would
times.
just love if they just were because Marvel movies, I love them to death. They are Marvel movies.
Yes,
They have a formula, they have a plan. This is a Marvel movie.
yes,
You just
and
kind of copy and paste the template. I want the DC movies to just be every genre, any time period. Just make a good movie with these characters.
yeah, and like it, a good movie is a good, like you said, a good movie. I don't think we need to make superhero movies anymore.
Yeah,
Like the superhero movie has been done. I would argue that when Spider-Man 2 came out, the superhero genre had been done.
yeah,
Like I think that superhero movies, I love them, but if I'm gonna like have a superhero plot, I may as well read a comic book now. What I want is
yeah.
superheroes in good movies. They don't have to be superhero movies. Which brings me on to my little quick point that I want to make here that I'll just insert here and then we'll keep talking about it. I really liked Venom.
Oh,
I really liked
you're
Venom.
the only person in the world, from what I've
I'm
heard.
not. There are four of us, and we were all sitting next to each other in the cinema. Dude,
Oh,
if you
gosh.
ever get to see Venom, now I don't know what your friend group is like out there. Like I don't know what access you have, what schedules you have. So I don't know if this is possible. But if you have like a couple a couple people that you love laughing with and just bullshitting and chatting in very much the same way that we do. Like, watch Venom with friends. Don't watch Venom alone. It is so funny and so not anything I've ever seen in my life. It is so weird. It is such a strange, weird movie with strange performances and weirdly good practical effects at points for some reason in a Venom movie. Like, dude, I don't know what was going on half the time, but all I know is that since we saw the movie, which was on like Wednesday, we have been quoting it non-stop. Me, Reese
Oh,
Peak,
Lord.
my brother, and he's kind of my brother-in-law, but he's just my sister's boyfriend, but like he's really close to me anyway. But like all four of us, we were just dying laughing. It is such a funny movie. The plot's terrible, but like I don't even know if that was supposed to be good. Like the movie, the best way I can describe it to you is like it's like Deadpool with Venom. Like that's all it is. Obviously, it's not as R-rated, so there's not as many like there's not many like raunchy jokes, but it's that kind of weird humor where it's like,
Is the humor intentional?
it has to be. There is no way that someone sat down, edited the movie, and was like, yeah, this is a serious film. Like, maybe there are two possibilities. Either the movie is completely intentionally supposed to be a comedy, and the marketing team just fucked up, or they didn't think that would work, right? So the filmmakers, everyone involved thought, yeah, this is a comedy. Or it was a superhero movie. It was supposed to be a superhero movie, and they thought, well, Marvel throw a bunch of jokes in, so let's throw a bunch of jokes in too. And the jokes were really good, and I just completely forgot the rest of the movie, so all I remember is really funny. That's a very high possibility, but the comedic timing in this movie is better than a lot of just comedies coming out. Do you mind about slight spoilers?
Oh, I don't give a shit about
Okay.
spoiling Venom.
I will tell you one of the funniest moments, and it's a smart joke. It doesn't sound like a smart joke, but I hope that you realize if I explain it why I thought it was smart. So the whole movie, if you're a Spider-Man fan, you're like, where are the Spider-Man references? And really early on, there is a Spider-Man reference, and you're like, wow. Not like to Spider-Man himself, but to the Spider-Man universe. Alluding to the fact that this Venom does exist in a similar universe to Spider-Man. Maybe Spider-Man doesn't exist in this universe, who knows? But there are characters that share, it's not just Eddie Brock and then no one else, So there's a really niche Spider-Man reference that you won't even get if you're not a big comic book reader. Like, I turned to Reese and I was like, wow, that guy's name was that. And he was like, who's that? And I was like, oh, well, and then I had to explain to him. But, like, it was really cool because I was like, wow. So now they got me on board with the first scene. I was like, wow, they're actually paying attention. Then the rest of the movie, you're like, okay, there's not really been a lot of references. They say that he got fired from the Daily World. And I'm like, why not just call it the Daily Planet? But okay. So I'm like, that's weird that they didn't, like, that they choose to, like, omit that. Do you get what I mean by that? They, like... John? I was worried this would happen. Hello?
I am still here.
Okay,
I got
cool.
enraptured in your Venom talk. I apologize.
Sorry. I think there was... it was a bit
Either
of
that
a
or I
disconnect.
glazed over. I'm not sure.
But yeah, so anyway, so there's a bit where so the whole time you're like, okay, is this a Spider-Man movie? And there's a very, very small scene where he kind of web swings, like a little bit, like he a little bit web swings, and it gives you a taste. It's shot in such a way that you're like, it gives you a moment for pause. So he does it, and then it's like, wow, what just happened? And Eddie, like, for a different reason, almost pauses and is like, what just happened? But it's almost like to the audience being like, hey, Venom just web swinged. Wasn't that cool? And I was like, wow, that was really cool. I hope he does it more. So then later on in the movie, way later, you're still waiting for more Spider-Man stuff. And there's a point where Venom and Eddie, obviously, they're always together. Venom is on top of a building. Really, really high building. And Eddie goes, inside of Venom, Eddie goes, how do we get down? And then Venom goes, well... we could jump. And then the music boils up, it bubbles up, and you're like, oh my god, this is going to be amazing. He's going to jump off the building, they're going to web swing through, it's so good. And the music is like building to be like it didn't, but I could almost hear the Spider-Man track start to like shuffle in. I was so excited. And then it hard cuts to Eddie calling the elevator. So the elevator dings. You're completely taken out of the moment. The doors open to the elevator, and then Venom just goes, "Pussy." Like, it's the fucking most bizarre shit. Like, if you didn't have all that baggage of like wanting so bad to see Venom web swing, it wouldn't be as funny. But because they build it up so much and the music swells and then it just hard cuts and then it's just the tag of Venom just being a dick. Like, he's just a dick. And like, I think that's what I loved most about the movie was the Eddie and Venom relationship. I couldn't
Yeah.
remember much about the plot, really. I just loved Tom Hardy. I thought he was great as Eddie Brock. He really does this thing with the character, which I think has been done a couple of times in the comics, where Eddie wants like the greater good. You know, he wants the world to be better. He wants to report the news for good reasons. But in his personal life, he's just an arsehole. You know, so it's like he's a good guy in the grand scheme of things, but to human beings, he's just a dick, which I thought was really good, and I thought that they conveyed that really well on screen. But I will say, it's real weird, and I don't blame people for disliking it. But I just think that, like, it's a strange movie, and I will definitely be quoting it for a long, long time. There's a lot of lines where, like there's a bit where Eddie is like, fuck, I'm just talking about Venom now. I'm sorry. There's a bit where Eddie goes, "You sure we'll be?" Because they're talking about Riot. They're like, "You sure we'll be able to beat him?" And then Venom's like, "No, he's got shit you wouldn't believe." Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is not. It's like dialogue you wouldn't think to be in any movie. But if you think about Venom in the comics, like he's he wants to be Spider-Man. He quips, you know, but he doesn't know how to do it. He's just real dark. Like, he quips like Spider-Man does, but he's real dark. It makes sense. The only thing that doesn't make sense is, where did he learn that? Because Spider-Man doesn't exist.
Why is this alien like, no shit, bro?
It is. It's like it's almost like he fused to Spider-Man off shot. Like, he's just learned all of it. Sorry to interrupt. I just felt like on this podcast of all places, I should express my opinion.
Of course, because we're the ones who like movies that everyone else hates.
Yeah, that's like our thing, you know? It's like that, and then also, what's your brand
Green Lantern.
Yeah, Green Lantern, sarcasm.
John Johnson, constant disappointment.
So have you got some more news for me? Some more news?
So the big news, for me personally, is that Brian Michael Bendis has been working with DC Comics.
Yes, he has.
He's working with them. He's writing Superman now. He's launching a new imprint at DC Comics.
Ooh.
Called Wonder Comics.
Oh.
This comics line will have a new Young Justice series.
Oh my goodness.
Wonder Twins.
What?
Connor Kent's coming back with the leather jacket and everything. We got Tim Drake. We've got Cassie. The old Young Avengers are back. Or Young Justice. Not Young Avengers.
It's
gonna be this cool, like, imprint of like younger teenage superheroes.
Dude, Connor? Where's Connor been?
I don't know where. Connor has been nowhere because the New 52 Superboy made him John.
Oh my goodness.
So we haven't seen Connor since before New 52.
Connor Hawk was like, I remember as a kid.
Oh, it's Connor. Connell. Superboy.
No, sorry. Yeah, my bad.
I'll say not Connor Hawk Green Arrow.
I always get them mixed up. Connors just are all the same. I'm sorry.
There are too many Connors.
He's oh man. Okay. I like this idea a lot. Not just because it's like, you know, bringing back old characters. Like, I mean, I'm a sucker for that. I'm a geek. Everyone likes it when it's like, remember this guy? But also because, like, they have a lot of stories that, like, I would like to see retold in an updated new fashion. Like, one of the reasons I like the new Teen Titans, the new Teen Titans is not the new 52 Teen Titans so much, is because they got to retell these stories that everyone, you know, loved, but in a modern setting with 2018 technology. Well, not 2018, it was like 2015 back then.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, with Twitter and social media and stuff, and what would Robin be like if he had access to all these things, you know? So it would be interesting to see all these stories either retold or just new stories with these characters.
Oh, and also, sorry, Impulse is showing up.
Oh, yes.
I'm so excited for that.
As in Bart Allen.
Yeah, I don't know if Bart's going back to the Impulse name, maybe.
Or if
Which I
he's
mean, in this continuity, I guess
Oh my
he
god.
hasn't used it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because he's Kid Flash in New 52, but then there's DC Rebirth. I
But
don't
then there's
know.
two Wally Wests right now.
Well, there's two Wally Wests, but there's also Bart, who is Impulse.
Yeah, weren't Bart and other Wally both Kid Flash?
So yeah, so he was pretending to be Kid Flash because there's an issue of the New 52 Teen Titans where Flash catches up to him and he's like, "Why are you using my name?" And like and like Bart is just like using the name. He's it's very complicated, but yeah. So technically, I don't know what happens after Rebirth because I haven't read that far in New 52 Teen Titans. I think it got cancelled or I don't know. But all I know is that technically there are three Kid Flashes. There's Wally when he comes back from the Speed Force. There's the Silver Kid Flash who was Kid Flash for a while before Wally came back, and then there's Kid Flash as in Bart Allen. But like, is he gonna become Impulse or
I
because there
think
was
Bart's
another
becoming
Impulse?
Impulse because I know Wally's using Kid Flash right now.
But
And I haven't
but
actually
then
seen what Bart's up to.
there's also Wally's daughter who becomes Impulse, right? Am I right in
Yeah,
saying
but
that?
she's not. I mean, all as far as we know, Wally's kids are still stuck in the time paradox thing that's going on.
Oh my goodness, the DC universe.
Yeah, the time paradox that Dr. Manhattan created.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot that
Yeah, that's
existed
still
in
going
the.
on.
I have not kept up with comics. I'm going to be honest.
I've
It's.
only really kept up with it through creators' Twitters.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I wanna get back. I think I'm gonna start reading Spider-Man again. I really do because I am
Ah.
after Venom, after playing the game, and then after all the stuff with I haven't seen the new trailer, but all the stuff with Into the Spider Verse,
Oh
like
my God.
brewing, which we'll
The
get
new
to.
trailer's so good.
It's just making me really like remember why I'm a love um, Spider-Man, and I think that Jack Thomas and I are going to carve out some time, and we're going to go back and rewatch the old show that came out when we were kids. You know the
Oh Lord, yeah. The '90s Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
it was just it's such a nostalgia trip. I remember Madam Web and
Oh
like
yeah.
the X-Men showing
And
up. It was
Spider-Man's also like yoked.
yeah, well, they were like, well, he's an older Spider-Man, so we should make him buff as fuck.
And so it's weird when he's walking around as Peter Parker with his dorky ass clothes, and it's like, dude, you are ripped.
I will say though that like in that show, it made so much more sense why MJ liked him because
Yeah.
he is like buff. He's like visibly buff. So MJ is like, oh, I like you a little bit like this, and then she gets to know him. She's like, oh, I don't know if I like you very much because you're good. I don't know. I really like MJ, man. I think she's like, she should. I just didn't. I don't like her and Peter together. I like them separately. I don't know why that is. It's just.
I like my Peter as a consummate single person.
Oh, you like him sad, Peter.
I well, not sad Peter, but more so like I'm too busy caught up in like all my life stuff that like I don't even find time to date.
Yeah, I
Like
get
I
you.
like my Peter who's like, I had a date tonight, didn't I? Shit. Well, except I like the idea that like he found Gwen Stacy, fell in love with her. She died, and now he just kind of doesn't really find time for dating.
See, interesting enough, my Spider-Man, the one I have chosen to be mine.
My
No,
Spider-Man.
yeah, I'm Doc Ock now.
Yeah,
The Spider-Man that I relate most to is Ultimate Spider-Man, in which Gwen Stacy, she lives on and she dates him, all the way to the end. So
yeah,
like, it's interesting that, I mean, I like the arc where she dies, not because I like that she died, but like for me, Gwen is always been with him, so Gwen is his girlfriend in my like head canon,
mhm,
but like yeah, it is weird to think of him ever holding up a relationship that just doesn't go well because the way they deal with it with MJ in like the 616 universe is just like she just puts up with it, like she just
yeah,
puts up with it, which I'm like, I don't feel like MJ would. Like I feel like she
yeah.
would get annoyed.
I like MJ as like a close friend, a confidant, and that person that it's like we just can't date. We tried it and it just
Yeah,
doesn't work.
yeah, and like
We're just not compatible like that.
she's always kind of like in the game. This is another thing she
Yeah.
shares with comic book MJ, where I like that it's when he's like, "Oh man, I wish I could be with MJ," but really, it's no, you're just a horny little teenager. Like you don't actually know what
Like
it would be
literally
like
the
to.
first time he sees her again, he's like, "Does she have different perfumes?"
Another, not going back to the game too much, but I love how they age him up, and in all the promotional material, they're like, this is an adult Spider-Man. But even though he's like an aged up Spider-Man, he's still a dork, which I love. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
even growing up, it doesn't make him less of a dork.
I love how transparent as shit he is too. Not to go off on a tangent, but he saves MJ's life, and then literally shoots her a text asking if they want to go to the place they had their first date.
He's so dumb. He's
Somebody
so
had
dumb.
a caught the I've just run into my ex recently again and I'm lonely.
Oh
She
man,
even she's just like, what are we doing here, Peter?
yeah. I
He's
sorry.
like, friends. Oh.
We could be friends. Have you got any more news? So, God, I mean, Into the Spider Verse. We may as well talk about that now.
Well, that
Um,
trailer's amazing.
I, I
Every it
can't,
just
I
I
can't
can't
even
wait.
imagine how many crazy stuff is in that trailer. Luckily I haven't been spoiled for that trailer yet. Um,
Nice thing is it doesn't really have too much. We just get to see some more, spider people. That's about it.
awesome, dope. However, I do have something. After the credits of Venom, they show 2 minutes of Into the Spider Verse. Um,
Oh,
and it is immensely enjoyable. They picked a really, really good 2 minutes because it's got tiny little bit of plot right at the front, but the
yeah.
majority of it is just an action scene.
Uh,
So it's like it's not spoiling any of the plot points or anything. It's just like what the film looks like. It is an absolute pleasure to watch. It's basically the first interaction between Miles and the adult Peter, whoever that guy is. Like we don't know which universe he's from or whatever yet, but like
so
it's
there
that.
is a theory.
Oh, I like this.
It's nothing that would impact the movie,
Yeah.
but they do show scenes from his universe. And there are
Okay.
scenes that are done a bit differently for comedic effect, but are almost shot for shot from the Tobey Maguire movie.
I like that idea. I do like that idea because of how, of all the Spider-Men like that we've known, Tobey Maguire feels like the one that would end up with the trench coat without the mask,
Yeah.
kind of just slumping around. Like I I think that is an interesting theory. We'll see how it pans out. What I want to ask you though about Into the Spider-Verse, because I think obviously, I mean, we're just going to talk about how much we're excited for it in 10 minutes, but I think it would be interesting to maybe do this as like my topic instead of my actual topic. Let's just do this quickly. Which Spider-Man that aren't in the trailer, just so you don't spoil anything for me, which
Yeah.
Spider-Man that aren't in the new trailer are you hoping to see in this one,
Oof.
in this movie?
I'm trying to remember all of my different Spider-Men.
Shall I go first?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, the first one that springs to mind is, disregarding the theory that you just had, it would be really cool, obviously maybe not as part of the plot, but just as a cameo, to see the 3 live action Spider-Man maybe
Oh,
hanging out
yeah.
with each other. It would be really cool to see Toby, Andrew, and Tom, and if they could, I don't know if they could, but if they could get them to voice act the characters, it would just
That
be
would be amazing.
so dope. And like go with like original costumes. So like I mean, Tom Maguire and would just be
Nice
kind of the
thing is
same.
that Andrew Garfield's is so visually different than
Exactly.
theirs.
That's what I'm saying. Keep his black eyes. Like I think that would be really cool because I know he had white eyes in the sequel, which were cool. But like just to make sure that it's him, he has the
Yeah.
black like Spider-Man eyes, which is very different to everyone else. And then like obviously the Stark suit is on Tom Holland, and then the original like the vein not veiny but like the webby suit is on
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire. They would be like the first ones that jump to my mind because it would just be such a nice thing if they got all those voice actors to kind of endorse this movie and be like, hey, we know that we don't get to be Spider-Man anymore, but like we like this and and I think Andrew Garfield would do it. He feels like he
Yeah.
enjoyed being Spider-Man so much that he would come back.
Seriously. I think I figured out mine. Superior Spider-Man.
Oh my
I
god!
want the
What?
Doc Ock Spider-Man. I think that'd just be hilarious, especially if he took off the mask and you saw Peter and he's like, "Oh, you're just like me." And he's like, "No." And he goes into this monologue
Oh my goodness! Superior
because
Spider-Man.
I'm an unabashed defender because Superior Spider-Man was amazing.
It was
It was really
insane.
good.
It was
It was
whether or
so
not you
good.
liked it or not, you had to give him props because it was a mental storyline. Like it was. Spider-Man's always had those storylines where you're like, listen, you can hate it or you can love it, but you got to give him credit. Like it's
Yeah, like
ballsy.
the Clone Saga.
I mean, the Clone Saga is like one of those ones where it's like, yeah, you can shit on it all you want, but it had a lasting impact. Like
Yeah,
it has been referenced. Superior would be great, even if like they didn't even confirm it. But like one of the Spider-Men just has the arms, right?
yeah,
And because he gets the arms eventually, doesn't he? He does. He
yeah.
just
So, like
incorporate
at the
them into the
end,
suit.
he gets the auto arms because he does kind of have like the spider arms, in the
Yeah,
beginning,
yeah, yeah,
but he
yeah.
does eventually go to like octopus arms.
So like if he had the arms and they were like and he just like they were like, oh, and you must be Peter from another universe. He's like, yes, I am Peter. Peter
Yeah.
Parker. And like only those who know. Like it would be really cool.
And then
I
I
mean,
think another one that'd be fun, um, is like a six, 70s, 60s. I'm trying to remember when Spider-Man actually came out,
oh, like
but
an
like,
OG boy.
yeah, like OG, like a sweater vest, like little,
The giant
little
round
kid,
glasses.
Pleasantville, yeah,
That would be cool. They could do some cool things with the costume with that as well.
yeah.
Where like he would
I'd love to have the
maybe
sweater vest on the outside of the Spider-Man costume.
and he could like even be animated differently to look like
Yeah.
he's out of
Well,
a
that's the
comic
thing
book.
in the new trailer is that all of the characters do look different because of their
Oh,
different
that's cool.
universes.
That's cool. I think one that would be cool, which is like an obvious one. I wouldn't be even. I would expect of all our guesses, this one would probably be in the movie. But he's just. I so like him so much. He's such a likable guy. Is 2099.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I love. I just think he's such a. It's just like they could have easily have been like, oh, this is just Peter Parker, but like his great grandson. But they actually created a brand new character and gave him a personality that was distinct, give him a backstory that was distinct. Like 2099 is such an interesting character because he's like Miles in that yes, he's Spider-Man, but he's different. You know, he's not just another Spider-Man. You know, and I think that's one of the cool things about Miles, and I think that would be a cool thing to put in, you know, this to be like, hey, there are also other it would be like to show Miles that you don't have to be Peter Parker to be Spider-Man. You can
Yeah.
be Gwen. You can be, you know, like all these other different characters. Is it
My
Thomas? Is it Thomas? His name is Thomas O Henry on.
huh?
Fuck! I wish I can't remember the real name of 2099. It's Thomas
Oh,
O
Miguel
something.
O'Hara.
Miguel O'Hara. Why did I think? I remember the O
I
bit,
was so
but
I
that's
was like
it.
Thomas.
Why did I think Thomas? Am I thinking? Oh, you know where this? Right, I'll show you where my crazy brain went. I thought alternative Spider-Man, alternative Batman, Thomas Wayne.
Oh,
I
okay,
don't know
okay.
why. I don't know why. I think that must have been what it went, or maybe it was. I don't know. But that I love this idea for a movie. I
What
cannot
I'm
wait.
hoping is that I mean, depending on how Venom turns out for the rest of the viewing public, um, we know Into the Spider-Verse is going to be a good movie. I cannot fathom that movie being bad. With the footage I've seen, it just looks like it'd be impossible for it to be bad.
Yeah.
I really hope that we just get animated movies. Just do more.
It, I I definitely want more, and I think we will get more Into the Spider-Verse style situations. It would be really cool to just get a Miles movie after this
I would
without
say
the
either that
gimmicks.
or a Gwen movie.
Oh yeah, definitely like a Gwen movie. I mean, this could even be like the Lego movie in the fact that you know the Lego movie they did the big mashup with all the characters first, and then they started doing the individual movies. So
Yeah.
they did the Lego movie with all the characters, and then they did Lego Batman, and they did Lego Ninjago, and like I think that's what they could do. They could do Enter the Spider-Verse, and then after that they go, okay, here's the Miles movie where he actually gets his full proper Miles costume, and maybe the Prowler's in it or something. And then there's the Spider-Gwen movie, and then there's, maybe even a Spider-Man 2099 movie. But what was cool about Venom was that they confirmed that Venom the movie is technically canon, because at the end it goes, meanwhile in another universe, and it shows a clip from Miles. So the idea is that, yeah, okay, Tom Hardy's Venom is probably not going to turn up into Enter the Spider-Verse, but the idea is that he is one of those multitudes of Earths, that he's one of those alternate realities, and that's where Venom exists. So, I like the idea that, one of those alternate Earths is also the Marvel Universe, so it's almost like bringing a bit of DC to Marvel, and there's a multiverse now. But instead of a multiverse where all the Justice League are all different, it's a multiverse where Spider-Man is at the center of it. Almost like a web.
Oh, a web of Spider-Man.
Damn, son, this was a good one. I enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Is there anything else you wanted to quickly mention before we wrap it on up?
Just getting those backpacks, man.
I'm sure we missed a lot of news. Is there any more news that we missed? We can wrap.
That was all
quickly.
The stuff that I kind of saw. The problem is that there's not really like a big, this is everything that happened in New York Comic Con. It's just kind of whatever gets shared on my socials.
Yeah, there's a lot of those for San Diego, but not so much for the other ones.
And so it's like, yeah, I get it. There are a lot of panels and stuff. I don't really care. Sure. There's a new Daredevil season 3 trailer.
I was going to ask you, are you excited
Bullseye.
for that?
I am, as long as I don't have to. My problem with all these shows now is I did not finish Defenders.
Well, do you want to just spoil Defenders for you so you know what happens?
Yeah, I already know what happens.
Okay, so it's just Born Again. I mean, you know what Born Again is, so it's.
And that's the thing, is season 3 Daredevil was the first one I'm interested in. Because I was interested in Jessica Jones season 2, got halfway through, that made some storytelling decisions I very much did not agree with.
Oof.
So I stopped watching.
I remember while I was watching it, arguing with you, being like, "No, dude, it's great," and then I got through it, and I was like, "Oh shit, John was right."
I'm like, nah. And then Luke Cage, I couldn't get through the first episode.
Okay.
I think I was just burnt out at that point.
Yeah.
And then Iron Fist haven't even started. But this is the one where I'm like, all right, we're going back to basics.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Daredevil has really always been a good catch because he was the beginning. He doesn't have to reference all the others. Yeah. He doesn't have to be like, where did Claire come from? It's just like, we all know where Claire come from. You can watch Daredevil, I think, and just kind of, and as much as he has that big moment in Defenders, and he has all the stuff with Elektra, it doesn't really have any personal moments for him, the only personal thing that happens for him is that he dies. He doesn't, it's, the Defenders is just Iron Fist's show, really. No one else develops through it.
So I'm excited for that, and then hopefully we get Punisher season 2, because Punisher is second to Daredevil, probably my favorite. Well, Jessica Jones season 1's still up there, but season 2 really brought the show down in my eyes, so it's weird.
Yeah.
Because I love season 1 of Jessica Jones. I still think that's really good, but Punisher season 1 was also really good.
Yeah, that's the
for
thing
different reasons.
With oh man, these Netflix shows are weird. I'm just specifically the Marvel ones now, because again, Luke Cage season 1 was my favorite. Luke Cage season 2 was good, but it I can't say that Luke Cage is one of my favorite shows anymore because it's not consistent, and it's the same with Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones season 1 was amazing, but I can't say that Jessica Jones is an amazing show anymore. Whereas Daredevil, I felt like the quality kept up between 1 and 2, so hopefully we can get that. And Punisher hasn't disappointed me yet, because season 1 was fucking amazing. So okay. So, dude, I'm sorry. I love talking to you, and I'm like, I need to sleep, but I gotta get John's opinion on the new issue of Spider-Verse. Thank you so much for joining me. If you would like to follow John and I, we're both on Twitter. You can follow him to see his Spider-Man pics. Maybe I'll start posting.
I will be sharing
Spider-Man
more.
pics. Maybe we should start a competition. Who can make the best Spider-Man selfie?
Oh yeah, the best photo mode.
And this has been Wi-Fi Friends. Yeah, man. How do we wrap these up again? Is it clear eyes, bright
Clear eyes,
skies?
full hearts. The night sky is endless as a child's teardrop. We drive along that long and winding road until an end that is always coming but will never be reached. Until that day, rock out with your cock out.
Good night.
Oh.